Hey designers, welcome back to the channel. Today I'll show you how you can create these high quality mesh gradient credit card skins in Figma. Let's dive right in and get started. The first thing you want to do is start with a base design, or a base artboard can work too. I'm using a 430 width artboard for this tutorial, but you can use whatever fits your needs. We can create a frame within our artboard by pressing the F key on our keyboards and clicking once. I'll add a random fill color to this frame to help visualize what you're doing a little bit better. The color does not matter here, so go ahead and choose anything. We can change the width of our frame to 398 and height to 258. I'm using these specific numbers because they roughly fit into the aspect ratio of an actual credit card. You can choose a different size as well if you want. If you're using a different sized artboard, I have a community file linked down below with different sizes for widely used artboards. Be sure to check it out after this tutorial. Back to our designs, we can align our artboard to the rest of our design and start adding some style to it. Let's add a border radius of 16 pixels and change the corner smoothing to 60%. If you don't know what corner smoothing is, it is essentially a property that helps us create super ellipses or circles from our rectangles. You can see it in action here. See how the shape of our rectangle changes as I increase the smoothing amount? Anyway, let's set it to 60% and move forward. We can rename our layer to card and add a rectangle inside it. Let's make the rectangle the same size as the card frame itself and change its fill to white at 1% opacity. While here, let's add a background blur effect to this rectangle and increase the amount to 200. Great, this layer will now act as a blur for the layers we place below it. Let's add ellipses to create a mesh effect. Each new ellipse that we add will act as a control point for a color in our design, so make sure all of them are placed below the rectangle layer. Now we can go ahead and remove the fill that we had added to our card frame at the start. Let's add colors to our ellipses. I'll add a nice red one to the first one, a blue for the second, a purple for the third, and I'll leave the last one to be white. Great, we have just created a high quality, fully editable mesh gradient. Let's add the rest of our elements to our card. I'll start with the card network logos, so I'll place a Visa logo here. In case you want to use the logos that I'm using, make sure to check out the community file, link in the description. Let's align it to the top left of the page, making sure we give it ample margin. Next, I want to mention that this is a credit card, so I'll go ahead and write down the word credit, increase the size and change it to a serif font, and place it in the top right corner, again making sure that I'm giving it ample margin. Now I want to mention the limit of this card, so I'll continue to use my serif font and write down an amount, and place it below the Visa logo. Make sure that you follow similar numbers when it comes to font sizes and line heights as what I am doing to get a consistent result. Now I'll add a label for this amount, so I'll go back to my sans serif font for this and change the text to credit limit. Let's add some spacing between these two elements and align them to the middle of the card. Change the color of the label to something lighter. Finally, we want to add a masked card number. So the first 12 digits will just be bullet points and we can show the last 4. Let's type this out. Now to give it that credit card feel, let's change this number to a monospaced font. I'll use Courier here. You can feel free to use any other monospaced font. Let's also increase the letter spacing to 10% to give it a more spaced out feel. Finally, to add a finishing touch, let's add some noise to this frame. Make sure that you place this noise layer right above the rectangle to which we applied the background blur effect to. And just to maintain a clear naming scheme in our file, let's change the rectangle layer's name to blur. If you want to learn how to create this noise image within Figma, make sure to check out the video in the top right hand corner or the link in the description below. And there you go, you've just made an awesome credit card skin for your next UI project. There's a community file down below with 10 skins that we have already made that are ready to use. Be sure to check it out. Thanks a ton for tuning in. Make sure to like and subscribe for more design insights. Until next time, happy designing.